Guys, in this video, we're gonna help you decide which telephoto lens is gonna be best for you for your Sony full frame camera. Now, today we have a bunch of options. We're very lucky, but that can also be overwhelming. So today we're gonna look at what's available as of today, which happens to be the Sony 200-600G, the Sony 100-400G Master. We've got the Sigma 150-600. We've got the Sigma 60-600, the Sigma 100-400, the Tamron 150-500, and the Tamron 50-400. Lots of options there. We're not going to talk about the big Sony primes in this video. That's kind of a class of their own. This is just about the telephoto lenses that a beginner or an intermediate might be looking at if you're getting into shooting birds or wildlife, or you just want a bunch of reach to shoot whatever. So we're going to break these down for you and talk about which one might be best for you based on your circumstances. I've been able to review all of these in depth, so I have a lot of experience with all of these lenses, and hopefully I can point you in the right direction. If you did want to see a full in-depth review on any of these lenses, check out the link down in the description for each. So where do we start? Let's start with a few basics and some limitations depending on which avenue you choose to go. We've got the native Sony lenses. In this case, there are two, and we've got some third-party lenses from Sigma and Tamron. So there are pros and cons to each. Typically, the third-party lenses are going to be cheaper for sure, but there are going to be some limitations that come with not choosing a native lens. Most notably, they are capped around 15 frames per second shooting. So if you have an Alpha 1 or an A9 series camera or something that shoots a lot faster, you are going to be capped out at 15 frames. Also, the Sonys have the options to throw a 1.4 or 2x teleconverter on, where the third-party lenses do not. They actually might have a proprietary one for their brand, but it's not going to work with any other lens. And the Sony teleconverters are available to work with a bunch of Sony lenses. Other than that, there are some features that might appear in some cameras now and moving forward, like focus breathing compensation and things like that, that may only work on Sony native lenses. So be aware of that if you're looking to get all the bells and whistles and make the most out of your camera tech. It's also worth noting that typically with Sony lenses, you're getting a 1-year warranty, and with Sigma and Tamron, you're getting a lot longer warranty, 5, 6, sometimes 7-year warranties, depending on where you are in the world. And that's pretty great, and for me does add a ton of value to your pick. Okay, so next let's look at the price difference of these lenses. Obviously, for a lot of people, a big consideration. We've got some crazy expensive G Master lenses, and we have some relatively affordable lenses in this case. It's all gonna be dependent on your needs and what you're looking for. Of course, some are gonna perform better than others, and frankly, some are probably gonna just be too big for some people. Some of these big telephotos are very heavy and very taxing if you're carrying them around all the time. And here's a look at what you can expect to pay for these guys brand new at MSRP. So they do range quite a bit. So depending on your budget, the price should be able to narrow it down for you. Another important aspect, as I mentioned, is the size and the weight. So here's a look at how they do compare in terms of overall weight. The most expensive on this list is going to be the 100-400G Master, one of my personal favorites, and for good reason. Although it's a few years old now, it's an incredible performer and extremely versatile. In terms of maximizing what you get out of your Sony camera, as well as performance all around, this is going to be my #1 pick. It's just about flawless in most situations. For an additional cost, you also have the ability to add on a teleconverter with this guy, making it even more versatile. A lot of my favorite images of all time have been taken with this lens, including some that have landed me some pretty nice awards. It sure is pricey, but for me, the performance, the size and weight, the incredible minimum focus distance, this lens just has everything going for it, and I can't recommend it enough. Let me know down in the comments which lens of yours is your all-time favorite. Next, let's touch on the big guy, the Sony 200-600G. This is a fantastic lens all around. If it was a G Master, it might be just the best thing since sliced bread, but it's not, and because of that, it's not quite as good optically as the 100-400. It doesn't quite blow you away. That said, it is a great lens. It's internally focusing and zooming with an incredibly short throw, allowing for easy target acquisition. It's a dream for birders, and you can be confident in its weather sealing. It is monstrous and heavy, so be prepared for that, and at $2,000 US or so, it doesn't come cheap. Also, that 1.4 and 2x teleconverter is going to be available for that beast. And here's some footage and photos from this lens. As you can see, I primarily focused on birds because I think it's probably one of the best birding lenses that you can buy for the Sony ecosystem. It's just an incredible lens, and my favorite feature, hands down, has got to be the internal zoom and just how fast you can go from 200 to 600. I do wish the aperture was a tiny bit faster or constant, but then we'd have something even bigger and more expensive. Overall, I think it's a great trade-off and a real winner in my books. If the size and weight aren't a huge factor for you, I would strongly consider this lens, especially if you love birds and wildlife. The awesome Sony 200-600G is going to be my #1 pick for bird photography. Next, let's touch on the 150-600s, or in Tamron's case, 150-500. Now that Tamron does have a little bit slower of an aperture at 500 millimeters, and that's f6.7, so a little bit slower, but a trick with that one is to zoom out just the tiniest little bit to get down to f6.3. It's a reasonable size and weight, but for some people with no teleconverter available, is 500 millimeters gonna be enough for birds? That's gonna have to be for you to decide. And here's some photo examples taken with this lens. As you can see, it's more than sharp enough, very impressive in regards to image quality, great colors and contrast, the autofocus works great, and with only 7 aperture blades, the transitions are unexpectedly good. It's got quite a good minimum focus distance at around 2 feet on the wide end, allowing you to get nice and close to your subjects. At around $1,400 and often found on sale, this could be a great pickup for somebody just starting out or looking for that intermediate lens in between an entry-level telephoto and something huge and heavy. Next, we've got the Sigma 150-600 and the 60-600. If you don't mind the size and you're looking for the most versatile, huge telephoto with the biggest range possible, the 60-600 is for you. Coming in at $2,000 US, it's definitely not cheap and does not disappoint in the range of things that it can cover. The autofocus is fantastic and optically it's just great, a real marvel, but it does come at the cost of being very big and heavy. And here's some photo examples with this lens once again. As you can see, it's very impressive in terms of the quality and the character that you get out of this lens. Not a problem when shooting birds in flight. It's gonna keep up with everything that you throw at it. This is my #1 pick for the most versatile big telephoto. And again, if the shooting speed and the size and the weight of this lens aren't an issue for you, this should be an absolute no-brainer. I have to mention that being a giant telephoto lens, you wouldn't expect it to have a great minimum focus distance, but it's just not the case with this thing. It's incredible that you can get so close on the wide end and shoot things that are basically right in front of your lens. Something that we don't see often, but are beginning to see more and more as technology advances. Fantastic job on Sigma's part here. Being somebody who shoots a ton of bird and wildlife photos and is constantly needed to shoot at higher ISOs, I have a secret for you to keep your photos razor sharp and eliminate that unwanted noise. It's called Topaz Labs Photo AI software. This is just the next generation of incredible editing, a drag and drop program that's a buy once and own forever type of thing. And as you can see here, the results speak for themselves. In just a few seconds, you can get professional-like edits, removing noise and sharpening photos, even upscaling, often allowing you to take photos that would have been otherwise useless and making them fantastic. I'm not sponsored by Topaz Labs in any way, I just think it's a fantastic product and have been personally using this software that I bought myself for quite a while now. Check the link in the description if you wanted to pick this software up. The Sigma 150-600 is also just an incredible lens, very much welcome to the ecosystem, and is not going to let you down with your general photos or videos for birding and for just getting out there when you need to. There is a bit of a weight difference between the two, and if you are somebody who doesn't want to carry around a bunch of lenses, well, that 60-600 might be a great choice for you because it just covers so much. The difference between 60 and 150 is just massive. That said, if you are somebody who's concerned with saving every ounce of weight, this is going to be a great birding lens. As you can see here, no problem shooting birds, even birds in flight. It is razor sharp, great images and footage out of this lens. It's classically a great focal length for birds, and coming in around $1,500 US, you do save quite a bit over the 60-600. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching the video, guys. A lot of work goes into these, and if you do appreciate that, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. If you're looking for a compact telephoto lens that still gets out to 400, even more if you throw it into crop mode, the Sigma 100-400 or the newer Tamron 50-400 is going to be fantastic. They both have a ton packed in and the size is just incredible. For me, the Tamron 50-400 is one of the most revolutionary and versatile lenses ever made, and you should strongly be considering something like this if overall versatility and size and weight are most important to you. After a firmware update, this lens's autofocus got even better and it keeps up with the best of them. It's very sharp and performs well, but doesn't quite have the image stabilization of the bigger lenses. My lightweight versatility award goes to the Tamron 50-400 hands down. If I was going to personally pick between the Tamron 50-400 and the Sigma 100-400, well, the Tamron just has a lot more going for it, including an absolutely incredible minimum focus distance, letting you get basically near macro capabilities with a big telephoto lens. And finally, let's have a look at the Sigma 100-400, the least expensive and the smallest and lightest lens on this list, and therefore an important lens for people maybe just getting started out and wanting their first telephoto. Quite a bit cheaper than the more versatile 50-400, this thing does pack a punch in great image quality, but will struggle a little bit when it comes to autofocus tracking and performance. With an MSRP around $950 and frequently found on sale for less, I think this could be a great pickup for people just getting their foot in the door and having a great lens that can absolutely produce professional results. Because of its great price, the Sigma 100-400 is going to be my #1 pick for people on a budget or just getting started out. As you can see, you don't need to buy the most expensive lens out there to get great looking and incredibly sharp images. I hope you liked all my photo examples, and make sure you let me know down below in the comments which lens you like the best and why. When it comes to choosing a lens, there's a lot more to consider than just image quality. Performance is measured in a lot of ways, from the size, handling, capabilities, image quality, autofocus, distortion and vignetting, flare control, versatility, and the list goes on and on. Everybody's needs are going to be completely unique, but in my experience as far as performance goes and the things that I value, this is how I rate every lens on this list. So in this day and age, we're so lucky to have all of these lenses, and I promise you, all of them can absolutely produce professional results. We're just spoiled with all the options, and I really hope this video helped you out in choosing one. Guys, if you did have any questions or comments, make sure you drop them down in the comments down below. Of course, if you did want to pick up any of these lenses, I'll drop affiliate links down there as well. And like always, make mistakes, be yourself, and get out there and take some more pictures. See you next time.